Okay, guys, we are recording. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for joining us on time. I'm Bobby White. I'm the National Performance Manager with England Handball, and I'm joined by Ricardo Vasconcelos, one of my colleagues, and we're delighted to have Paulo Pereira with us today from the Portuguese men's national team, presenting on the 6-0 defence. Just before we get started, a couple of housekeeping things to be mindful of. Please keep your microphone switched off so that we don't have any interference from you during the presentations. There is going to be an opportunity for questions to be asked at the end of the presentation, and of course throughout the presentation you can ask those questions in the chat box, and Ricardo and myself will be filtering those questions and making sure if they're timely, then we'll ask for some responses. As Ricardo already mentioned, the recording of this video will be posted on the England Handball website shortly after the presentation takes place. So you will be shared a link to that recording too. And then just so that you're aware, we've had a previous issue of being hacked on Wednesday, where unfortunately the webinar was taken over very, very briefly. Myself and Ricardo managed to pause the situation and remove the person from the group, from the webinar. But please be mindful that this has happened on a few Zoom occasions across different sporting organisations. We have taken some steps to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We've changed our registration process, and also that we've removed the ability for people to share their screens. So we hope that we've made the necessary steps to make sure that we keep everybody kind of safe in this environment that we're in. So please be mindful that if you feel like your device is out of control and it looks like somebody else is controlling your device, please try to exit the meeting as soon as possible, because it means your device has been taken over. Okay, so I'll now give the platform to Paulo to introduce himself properly, because I'm sure I've done him a tremendous injustice with the pronunciation of his name, and also yeah, maybe his background. So over to you.
Okay, first of all, I don't go to lose too much time, because we don't have too much time. So first of all, thank you for your invitation, and I hope this communication was useful for everybody. So I go to share immediately my, I can share immediately?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But maybe you must do something before, no? Because, okay, let me see here. Okay.
You have it.
That's it. So I go to begin to, in the beginning, I go to make a little resume about what we go to talking about. That means six-zero defense for me in this moment is the best system, that the more effective system. Of course, we must have players to do this this kind of 6-0 system, because as you know, there's a lot of ways to play a 6-0 defense. Everybody knows that today we play against, especially against the players, against the teams, but especially against the players, because if you have rules for defense at left or at right side of the field, the same rules, maybe we are not in the right way, because the players are different. So maybe we must find some other ways to be more effective in defense. So I go to talk a little bit about this. What's this? Sorry. Okay, is everything okay? You can see? Yep. To block up moves to effective areas. To use correctly the visual field to act and cooperate, because this is some needs that we must have in defense, to decide between sliding through or opponent exchanging, to play against the ball. Later I go to explain a little bit better what I mean with this. To anticipate game occurrences. As you know, the big difference between experts or experienced players and the young players is exactly this: to anticipate the game occurrence, to use correctly the space, to recognize important signs, danger evaluation, because sometimes we have some examples that the players don't evaluate exactly correctly the danger, and then maybe they lose energy and for nothing. Requirements to have more possibilities in defense. Quality of cooperation. That means the type of helps that we can use in every moment. Having in mind weak and strong side of the attackers. It's not the same to play against a player that only can shoot from 9 meters or 10 meters, or a player that only can break through and is a very good feinter, for example. It's not the same. Also considering our characteristics, because especially the outside defenders, if normally they are wings, is not the same if they are very strong and they can fight against the pivots or not. So also our characteristics are very important, as you know. We must have also adaptive and proactive players or system. I go to explain this also later. Play against direct or indirect opponents. In Portugal or Spain, we call par y impar. That means pair but unpair don't exist. Because of this, I call direct and indirect opponents. That means if you play against, you are mid defender, you play against the back player, but other players playing, for example, the center defender play against the center back normally, or pivot if he's in zone. So the indirect or direct opponents use different behavior, but acting in the same circumstances. Circumstances for me is really important, and we must train this, because as I told you before, we play against the players, and also later I go to explain you that we must train tactically, but we must play strategically in function of our characteristics, in function of the model of the game, of the attack, and a lot of things more. We must also think in strategic plan, because especially in relation to offensive opponent game model, key players and relations, variations in deep and tactical applications in different zones of the field, special moments. I don't go to talk about this, but when we think a model of game for our defense, we must also to think in these special moments, okay? For example, the end of the match, our behavior is the same or not? Depends of the result, depends of a lot of things. For example, to recover a negative result, we play the same or we must change something? In a timeout, have we prepared something for the timeout, planned something for the timeout, for our timeout, or for the timeout of the opponent team? For the asymmetric game, also this is not 6-0, but when we have one player less, for example, maybe the behavior must be a little bit different in some way. 9 meters, have we planned something for 9 meters? Alternative formats after the return to defense. For example, a wing that shoots and is in the floor, he give goal, but we must recover in defense. is good that he goes directly to his position, especially if he's far away from his position in defense. Maybe is better to work to change a little bit the system. For example, we play temporarily 5-1, and this wing, pick up some player to keep the equality in defense. Passive game. What we must do in passive game? Have we some order in this or not? For me, also is very important that the players don't have to know everything about the game or about the plan of the game during the pre-match meeting, for example. Especially if you have a lot of games. Okay, the coach must manage the information, but the players must only know really the important things for this game. The other things you keep for you because they are intelligent, but they don't have too much capacity to learn everything about this game. Also, a very good thing that for me is very, very, very important, and also that comes with years. I think when I was younger coach, for me is not too easy. Today is a little bit more easy. The coach must see and feel the same as the players during the practice or game in defense. That means you must see more or less the same thing. That give you the time with the team, with the players. We need time to achieve this aligned thinking. Okay, but for me it's really very important because sometimes we don't know exactly what we're talking about because you talk about one thing and the player understand and talk about another thing. Okay, so let's go to the presentation immediately. I hope we can see all videos that I go to show to you. Okay, so I go to consider these positions. That means outside left defender, outside right, mid left defenders, center left and center right. I know there's some different when we talk about positions, there's something other coaches call in another way, but I go to use this, and like this is more easy for everybody. That means I go to show you some good and bad or not so good decisions. Normally, also we don't give too much importance to the outside defenders, and for me, there's a lot of things that we must think about these guys because they are really, really important in a system, especially in an active system, because you go to open a lot of spaces. That means we must have these players, this outside defend everybody, but also especially these outside defenders. Because of this, I go to give a little bit more importance to these players. Okay. For me, they are. Let's see a little bit first this, and then we stop. This is a very good decision because Area now he open space. He let the back player shoot in breakthrough because he's a little bit. He's not in. He's a little bit imbalanced, and he must immediately decide what to do. Another one. Another one. Now we must decide what to do. Okay, you leave him totally alone. Now, not so good decisions about this situation. Look, Now we have the right back player is in the middle. Now he's as center back. He's left-hander, and he must have a very good communication with the mid-right defender. Okay, that means now we must decide. I go to pick up him, hand over and take over. That means we go to exchange position or not. But this is for outside defender to decide. In this case, Areia, he saw that Balak, he made dribbling, okay, the dribble, and then he let him go. But okay, I talk with them. I send this video for them because I work 3 weeks ago in this. I sent videos to the players and I talk with them what we must do in this situation. And I go to tell you what they tell me. They told me that the Areia must, maybe he can pick up Balak, but what he understands in the moment is that maybe it's better to stop the pass to the left back player. And Miguel, in this case, must close the strong side. The strong side, because he's left-hander, is his strong side, he goes there, and Miguel must close the strong side, okay? In this case, maybe Areia must act a little bit more earlier to give this information to Miguel Martins, and Miguel Martins must close the strong side of the center back, left-hander. Look to Portela now. Palmerson goes to defend, and now look at him. Portela is totally. I sent him also this image, and he told me, yes, I'm totally flat because okay, he can help. His task is to help also Frade, but at the same time he must cut the pass to the wing. Not only help, he must be in a basic position, better basic position. Okay, not with the both feet in the 6 meters line, because it's too easy to pass. And Palmerson have the ball in right hand. Two things that for us is better if he goes with the ball in right hand to pass to the wing. Okay, but in relation of outsider defenders, they must know to play against direct and indirect players. We go to see more images later to assure the density along the goal area line, to decide final actions, because there's a lot of final actions that they must decide. You saw some of them in breakthrough of the left back in breakthrough, for example. Close or not these back players in breakthrough is they must decide a little bit earlier what they go to do. Upon opponent exchange or sliding through, when for example there's a wing inside and they must play out against the back player, and then can you imagine a pivot in this zone? He must work with the center defender, and then he must decide if he goes to cut the pass and or to exchange opponent. Of course, these outside defenders, to have more efficacy, they must know how to play very, very good 1 against 2, because there's a lot of situations that they go to play 1 against 2. Later, I go to give you some examples, some exercises. Act with different behavior in the same context. Good coordination with lateral defender or sometimes with center defender, as I told you. Prepared, they must be prepared, they must be to help to solving some problems, namely closing behind the mid defender, for example. A lot of times he must go out, there's a pivot there and he must go behind him to close. We have some examples later. Common mistakes: self-fixation, because they go to close someone who is not necessary to close, and wrong basic position to cut passes, as we saw in this example. Okay. Let's continue. About the ability to play against 2 against 1. You see the basic position of Branquinho. Look. Okay, I know he's, in this case, he must play 2 against 1 now. In this position, is almost impossible to play 2 against 1. And I sent this image to him, this clip, and he told me, yes, I must do better than this. Okay. Another situation, look. Same player, Branquinho. Look at the body, the position. The basic position is not correct. Again, look the self-fixation. Look here, the number 34, Fabio Vidrago, Antunes. Let's go. Look. You see? He goes to close what? Maybe he feels that the pivot can go there or something. Look. I don't stay too much happy in bench. Because really is too early. He react too earlier. He decide too earlier to close this space. Again, self-fixation. He goes, okay. He goes to close what? Okay, let's see again. Now, opportunity. You have the opportunity to attack the indirect opponent in this case, because if you look, there's a fixation of 2 defenders. The middle back now, he goes to fix 2 defenders. And now he must be in game to cut this pass. Okay? He must be in game to cut this pass. Of course, it's not his fault, because in the beginning, we must play 2 against 1. There's a lot of situations that we must play 2 against 1. And but they must act at the final actions. In this case, let's talk about different behavior in the same context. Look. In this case, there's a wing inside. The right wing goes inside our second pivot to the opposite side of the field. And Branquinho fights against Bahidi. Okay, in this situation. Okay, he fights against Bahidi. Good. In this situation is the same, but before the wing is inside, but he plays out now. That means he can decide. I don't go to tell you everything, but I can tell you that we have outside defenders that play in one way. Okay, but we have some outsider defenders that they can decide what they want to do. And the mid defender makes some adaptations in function of what he decides. Of course, when we prepare the game, sometimes we fix, okay, you go to do this. We make agreements with the players. Hey, sometimes I ask them, what you feel better? You feel better out, or you feel better if you fight against the pivot down? And he told me, and then we make some agreements. Sometimes I must be like Trump. No, you do this only. But normally we made a lot of agreements. Opponent exchange in this situation. Look, the relation between Alexis and Alex Cavalcanti. Yeah, they have the pivot between 2 and 3, between mid left defender and center left defender, and then they exchange opponents. Okay, Alexis goes a little bit out. He made the block, but Cavalcanti stays with pivot. In this situation, he goes with the back player. Okay, that means I know the ball comes from different positions. It's not the same if the ball comes from the wing or if the ball comes from the center back. But we have always the possibility to follow the back player if we have the pivot between us, or to exchange opponents. Okay. Again, I tell you that sometimes we made a strict plan for this player to play against these players, or sometimes we give to the players the choice. They can choose. So I know you like a lot some exercises. What we told here. Moça, podes fazer menos barulho, por favor? I'm sorry, because there's some noise here. That means this is a sample exercise to work, especially the outside defenders. You put here the back player, the mid defender, to touch this line, red line. Okay. And this back player, this mid right defender, and the back player, the left back in this case, he must run behind the cone to give him some difficulty with this displacement. That means the coach must pass the ball to different places, and then you can manage the constraints. That means you can make some limitations in dribbling. You can let him make only a single dribbling or free dribbling. This is different constraints to put that goes to put in difficulty, especially the outside defender. Okay. At final of the exercise, you can allow the left back to go outside of the cone also. Different displacements, different moments that he can catch the ball to continue the cycle steps, and this is different things that obligate different behavior, different choices. It's not the same, because for the outside defender is not the same this trajectory, especially if it goes imbalanced, for example. Probably this is a very good situation for a goalkeeper. Why? We go to make fault, let him go. Or this trajectory this is a total different situation, because he come inside of the field, maybe he have balance, he can shoot, so it's not the same situation. The correct basic position, always he must be he can help the mid defender, but the outside defender must be able always to help him, but at the same time to cut this pass. Okay, now let's for mid and outside defenders now. You put here a unusable area. They must observe distances, body orientation, and cycle steps, and step cycle. They must have always a active behavior. They play 3 against 2 one side, 3 against 2 other side, and we give a little bit open possibilities to the defenders to cut the ball, to see if the players have a dribbling or not. You can allow one dribbling or more than one dribbling. You can change a little bit the constraints. This is a little bit the same, but this is a typical left-right 3 against 3 situation. We give a ball to the defender to have in this case he have some limitations when he catch the ball. That means normally the center back go to pass him when he faints, and the problem, it will be always at the outside of the field. He can make double pass or dribbling, different situations, and then we must act. In this case, we have the coach. We take off the wings and we play the relation between the outside defender and the mid defender. We put the mid defender to touch or this air body or the line, 6 meters line, different positions. And then the center back goes to play this zone to generate difficulties in relationship between them. The same, but now with pivot, okay? It's the same situation, but with pivot. You can also allow the pivot to move or not. Now 4 against 4, and then typical situation 5 against 5. The pivot can play in this position or he can move to the other position because everything changed, and especially you can repeat without repeating. And the final situation is to put here 2 or 3 left wings that they play and they go to their position, okay? Because this happens a lot, especially Gensheimer. He put a lot of doubts in defense when he goes out, but maybe he can come back. So they must have all this information. Let's talk a little bit about the center defenders now. They must recognize the danger signs at every moment. In this case, what I tell them, what we work is, okay, we have here a 2 against 2 situation. Now, Daimaru is the direct opponent of the center back. He must decide if he must stop him in strong side, if he must take him to the help of Ferraz. He must be aware to help him or to cut the pass to the left back. In this case, I think he decided very good because it's not danger. Because you look, his orientation is to the public, and let's change opponent. Okay, this is very good. Now the relation between Quintana knows this ball is he must defend this ball because the ball don't go too fast, but the relation between defenders are very good in this situation. What we must improve? You saw in this moment how this is Karabatic. If it's Fábio Magalhães, maybe the referees is not because of nothing, but maybe they say, hey, this is fault in attack. But okay, Karabatic is not fault in attack. You see, he goes here. And now Alexis, he must fight with him to don't lose deepness. He must keep Karabatic in 9 meters minimum. And if you can see this, he put Alexis in 7 meters. And now 6 meters. Okay, we have always opportunity to make block, but it's not the solution. You must keep the deepness in our defense. Protect the strong side and prepare the opponent exchange. In this situation, Daimaru is a little bit late now because this step here is not necessary because he changed direction when he run with ball in dribbling. He must anticipate a little bit this because he goes to his strong side, and now he must decide if I must stop him because he can shoot from this position, or if I conduce him to the help. In this situation, now he is out. Now he is out because the help must come a little bit earlier. In this case, Cavalcanti, because Fravi is with pivot. Cavalcanti must have a little bit more, must be a little bit more deep in defense, and then to make the exchange a little bit more earlier. Because of this, Daimaru is a little bit out in the cross. danger evaluation. Take a look now and look Frade. I send him also this image. He loses a lot of energy. Why he goes there? Why? Why? Because he don't go to shoot. He run to the public. So don't go with him. Because maybe if the ball come more fast, he have problems. Because now he must come back to the pivot. And in this plan of the game, we know Bahidi is the most effective player from Hungary. So we don't go too much, only if we feel that is a really dangerous situation of shoot in the zone with the efficacy. So in this case, he goes too much. Again, to improve. I say to improve because I think I'm a little bit, maybe a lot of people can say that I'm a little bit crazy, but I feel and I think that we can be one of the best defenses in the world. If we fix something, because we go to fix this, if we have a little bit time to do it, we can really be one of the best defenses in the world. We have defenders, now let's work a little bit more the system. One thing that we must to really improve is these situations. Look, Frade, again Karabatic. He put Frade down. Now a little bit block of Sorrento and we can do nothing. We shoot more or less with in a good position. Like this. Again, now Bombac. Now Bombac. Look Bombac, look Frade. And it's not possible, not possible. He must keep him in 9 meters. He must keep him in 9 meters and pass him to receive the right wing, Yank. Okay. A little bit more about center defenders. This cooperation with goalkeeper also. Okay, Frade is good. For me, it's better to stop the shot in this case, but he don't go in time and he made block. Okay, this ball is from Quintana, and he knows also this. This is a direct shoot. In this case, Frade stays with the man, and the ball go here, a direct shoot for goalkeeper. That's it. In this case, look, Frade again, left-handed player, and he stop working with the feet, with legs, and he win a little bit strong side. In this case, 1-against-1 situation, he must close a little bit more strong side because he's a zone, clear shooting zone for a back player with this quality. You win a little bit and then we don't close. Again, some idea for you. This is a normal situation, 2-against-2 situation. Of course, when we work in the other side with the wings, with the outside defenders and mid defenders, maybe in the other side to use correctly the time for training, you can use this type of situations. This is a normal situation, 2-against-2, but my idea is maybe with or without back players to help, in this case to help the center back and pivot. But let's put this exercise a little bit more complex at the same time, but also I think more useful. Okay, we have the same situation, but now you put here also a center back with ball. That means in the same exercise, you play 2-against-2, but also we play 2-against-1. That means 2 defenders against 1 player, 1 center back. And you told me, but this is a very easy situation. Yes, but when we go to play, there's a lot of situations we must play 2 against 2, and we keep playing 1 against 1. In this case, if you play only 1 against the center back and you are 2 defenders, everybody knows the answer. Everybody knows the answer. Now we must play. And again, a center back and pivot. And again, the center, you mix 2 against 1, 2 against 2, 2 against 1, 2 against 2. And also, better, you can put another one defender that plays and change all time with these defenders are in the middle. These 3 defenders go to play 2 against 1, 2 against 2 with pivot, or 1 against 1, or if you want 1 against 2. Okay, if you want 1 against 2, also 2 center back and 1 pivot to play 2 against 3. That means the idea is to change, to increase difficulty, and to play in a symmetric way and asymmetric way in the same exercise. That means, in my opinion, we can create also in defense, in attack or in defense, we can create more clever players, and especially players ready to solve problems in every moment. And now, for example, we do a lot of these exercises in national team. This is because I don't like to lose time. I go direct to the point, because especially in national team, we don't have time to work. That means we must take care a lot about this situation of the time you have to work. So we must go straight to the point. That means in this case, we have different beginnings, 1 against 1 or 2 against 2. You put 1 middle defense, 1 center back and 1 pivot in the middle, and the pivot pass the ball and he chooses the space when he go to play. Okay, he chooses the place, the space between defense. Well, okay, he chooses this one. That means we go to have 1 against 1 here, 1 against 1, and 2 against 2 in the other position where is pivot. But if he choose the middle, that change, and you put the middle, the center back and the pivot, a couple of players that goes in every time in the same exercise, and you change places. You look at this, okay, it's not so complex, of course, but you can in this situation you can work a lot the relations between the defenders, and especially how to play in different contexts to have different solutions to the same context. Okay, I love a lot this type of exercises. I worked this many years. That means from Angola. That means 2000, more or less 8 years ago or 9 years ago. I worked this type of exercises. You can put here center back and pivots. Sometimes goes a pivot, sometimes goes a center back. That means in the same exercise you have 3 against 3 with pivot or without pivot. Same situation, right backs and pivots now, right backs and pivots. And if you have here 3 defenders, center defender, mid left, mid right defender, you put couples at left side, couples at right side. That means the couple is pivot and forward defender in this case. But also you can put here not a forward defender. This guy can be a center defender, for example, and he goes inside, and you play 4 against 4 in a 6-0 situation, or you can play in this case 3-1 system. That means to work 5-1 system in the same exercise. Same thing. In this case, 5 against 5. Okay. Only ideas, but especially we must train tactically to play strategically, because the opponents are not the same, the players are not the same, and we must have different answers to the same problem. Playing badly with space. Some examples. We talk now about tactical skills a little bit. There's a lot of them, but I put only a few. In this case, look, let's put a little bit. Look, André Gomes. You note a little bit that Luís Frade and André Gomes, they are very young players. They must learn a lot, but also, I think they have a lot of possibility in future. Okay, so look, he is totally relaxed. You see, Ferraz is there. He do the right thing. Maybe the orientation I like more to the ball, and he don't do what he must do. He knows he must be active in this case to play against direct opponents, to don't give too much possibilities to bombard, think too much, very, very good accuracy pass or the velocity of transmission. They must act. And in this case, he don't act. That means he don't use the space. He stays very calm and okay. We play against the best players in the world, and in this case, it's too easy, too easy, because before he don't do nothing to put him in pressure. Another situation, Alexis do very good this, but in this case he offer him. I don't know if you can see. You can see very, very good videos. Bob, the videos are okay? Okay.
Yes, they're fine. They're fine. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So in this situation, you can see that Alexis play with the space is very good. He give him space now, but now we must be able to stop him again. Okay, you can offer space. In this case, he can't feint nobody because he don't have nobody to feint, but now we must attack him again. Okay. Good idea, but technically is not so good, but it's good idea. You go to see the same thing because now I think he play very, very correctly with the space. He offer him, and now he have time to attack him again. Look, Daimar Salina, he have a very good intuition, and he can calculate very good. He do a lot of times this type of situations. He offered the pass to the middle back, and then he cut the pass easily. For me, act to solve a problem sometimes is more important, but if you are ready to solve some problem that you have in your game, you are able to be the best in defense, because defense, okay, is a lot of tactical work, cooperation work, but if you don't have a little bit art in defense, it's very, very difficult to have a good defense. So in this case, look at the behavior of Alexis Borges. Again, here, Frade comes too much earlier and imbalanced to defend Mem. He is out now. And look, Alexis, he goes behind and they stop him in the other side. It's really amazing. Again, game occurrence anticipation. If we don't anticipate this, we are down. We are too. You see, he goes, and then easy shoot for. Of course, Daimaro must come also to help Alexis, but especially Alexis, he goes too much down in defense. 1-1 playing with space again. Look, I must say, Palmerson, Dikamam, they are the best players in the world. Okay, this is not the same to play against some players we don't have so this, high quality. But okay, we must focus always in one we want to achieve. And in this case, look, he give him a little bit space, and then he anticipates the feint inside the field. Fábio Magalhães. This is very, very important because now the Norwegian players are experts in this, because if you take a lot of shoots when they are in defense, shoots from the middle of the field, they are a team that they have a lot of shoots that the goalkeeper can stop, but the most part of the shoots have a little push, a little fault. Okay, is the same situation that Alexis made here, because this is the situation that we must decide if we go to make fault or not. And really, really, the Norwegian players are very good in this matter. Because sometimes it's better to let the player shoot if he's a little bit unbalanced or something. If you want to close the strong side, sometimes you must make this interpretation to decide if he's really good and interesting to stop him or to let him shoot because he's not in good balance. In this case, play against the ball, that means sometimes the players only play against the player without ball or with ball. They focus only with the player. But normally we must focus in the danger signs. That means if I have the ball down, normally I can shoot. Sometimes, okay, they can surprise, but normally if you look to the position of the ball, the behavior, the orientation, maybe you can also play against a possible pass to the pivot or to other players. Okay, we talk again about game occurrence anticipation. Look. Look. And now Gottfried is the left back. Now he can pass to Gottfriedson. There's a little bit pressure of Fábio Magalhães to Gottfriedson. And then look at Alexis. He only play against the ball. He only play against the ball. He only focus where the ball can go, the possible trajectory. And now look. Okay, the ball is down, totally down. He only can pass here. He only can pass. So let's focus on the ball only. And that's it. Again. Again. Look Alex Cavalcanti. He passed behind back. Okay, but Alex, he look to the ball only. And he can cut the pass. We solve a lot of problems if we are able to play against the ball. There's a cross here. And now look Alexis and Alex Cavalcanti. He only look to the ball because in this position, the play, okay, he can shoot, but the position of the arm is not a shoot because he don't put the ball behind to shoot. Only focus with the ball, okay? Cooperation work, some examples of cooperation work. Outside defender behind the mid-right defender, for example. You remember this, where we talk? Look the outside defender. Portela, Pedro Portela, look. Now the mid-right Ferraz is behind the pivot. We try all time to play in front of pivot. Sometimes it's not possible. In this case, Ferraz is out and Portela wins this because he is able to help. We don't train this, but we don't train exactly this situation that, okay, the pivot now and you go. All time, the players must be able to do this type of things. Good help to the pivot. Also, Andre Gomes here, he gives a very good help to the pivot. We lose something, and the pivot is with Aimaro, and in this situation, Areia must be able to play against two players all time, the outside defenders. In this situation, they must decide between sliding through or opponent changing. I think you call also takeover or handover. In this situation, for example, our center defender must decide that is interesting to follow him or to make change. He can go to the pivot. This is always his feeling. I ask him a lot when we are in practice. I ask them, is danger or not? Is running, is danger or not? And we must decide in function of this. We feel that he can shoot, but now, look, he make dribbling. Our Fábio Magalhães must decide if he recover him or if he follow the left back. Okay, this is the most important decision now. Okay, he follow him because he don't have nothing to do. He can shoot because Alexis is with him, strong side. He can decide. I go to help him and make exchange of opponents, or I go to follow my player. Again, look this. And now, right back, left under. He make dribbling, is finished, and now Areia cut the pass, and then I don't know what happened here. Okay. In this situation, there's a situation Miguel makes a self-fixation, not only the outside defenders. He goes to help in strong side. It's not good decision because now he stays alone. He go to help here, he stays alone. Again, cooperation, work between mid-right defender because he goes behind the center defender. Look, because now Daimaru tried to cut the pass. He can't cut all passes. Sometimes there's some mistakes, but Ferraz is there to help because it's very difficult to pass to this side, and Areia is ready to play against two players. We feel this when we look to his body language. He's ready to play against two players. Again, quality of cooperation. Quality of cooperation. In this case, the mid-right defender must see he dribble, he stop dribble, and then he goes. Frad must conduce him a little bit more, must to begin the duel a little bit more deep, to give the possibility to Fábio Magalhães, the mid-right defender, to help him because he goes to weak side, and we can stop him and also stop the pass for the left back. In this situation, I talked already with Fábio Magalhães, and also he told me, yes, in this case, I must help because he is in cycle step. He can have a good orientation to the goal, and he can shoot. So, in this case, he must help. Okay. Good help and steal. Good help and steal. Look, Bombach. And now he is totally inside 9 meters. He only can pass, he can shoot. The outside defender must be able to cut this pass. must be able to do it. And okay, you do it in this case, okay? Again, good help decision. Look, Ferraz, he goes weak side. Normally, there's a lot of players, high-level players, that don't play too much with left hand in this position. And he plays with right hand. Ferraz must be ready to help, but also to cut this pass, our mid-right defender, because he don't win too much, but okay, he must be ready to help, and in this case, to cut the pass also. And then there's a very good decision of Portela, because he wins a fault in attack. Okay, we have the risk that he can put the ball in the wing. Again, indirect pressure and steal. Indirect pressure and steal. In this case, in the plan of the game, because we played a little bit, we played strategically against Zarabec. He's a very good feinter guy. So we play 2 against 1 against him. In this case, Frad must be ready to help our mid-right defender. And we play 2 against 1 against him, but we must have this answer a little bit more earlier. Alexis must go to Bombac. In this case, we have far away from the ball, we play 2 against 3. And, okay, André Gomes with pivot, and Branquinho must play against 2 players. That means right back and right wing. I finish, huh? I need only 1 minute.
That's fine. You have all the time you need.
This situation, you see Miguel Martins, he do this very, very good, very, very good. He have a very good a time of pressure and direct to the indirect opponent. In this case, you see our mid-right defender, he comes to cut and we win the ball. We have a more clear situation here. Look. Player with ball. And then our outside defender, Areia, plays 1 against 2. And now Thiago Rocha goes to the center back, and at the same time he cut the pass, because he's not only play against the player, also against the ball. The last ones. Now against Norway. And Miguel goes here, and in this case, Portela must adapt his behavior and immediately to play against 2. First against the left back, and then also against the wing. And okay, we have another one. Okay, this case, direct pressure Alexis, and then Karabatic goes behind Frad, and Fábio Magalhães, our mid-right defender, cut the pass to Karabatic, and Portela plays against two players. Again against Norway, and Daimaro, he plays very good these situations. Again, in the same game, he steals 2 balls in the same situation after a change position in attack. To finish, we played this format because we change sometimes defense 6-0 to 5-1. You can call 3-3 or 3-2-1. Call what you want. We change totally. We move one player from our system as forward defender. Sometimes mid right or mid left. Sometimes a center defender, especially when we have Gilberto Duarte. Now he's in this European Championship. He's injured, so we play only the mid right, especially the mid right defender. He changed the system, and he goes as 5-1. During the movement, we change the system more deep now, more individual system in a certain way. Miguel here, it was clever because he closed a little bit the pivot and he goes out again and we will win this ball. Last example. Now Fábio Magalhães. He followed the left back during the movement and total different deepness in defense. And now we have this ball. Especially some teams have some problems to play against this. You go to have this resume, okay? The resume that I talked about in the beginning. And for me, it was very interesting to talk about you. There's a lot of things, but I tried to talk about the more essential things that I think is important to have a very good 6-0 defense. Okay, now I am open to some questions that you have.
Paulo, just before we move along to the questions, there was some guys asking if you were going to share that mind map. You've just said you
yes,
would.
yes,
so
yes.
So it's good. We'll send it over on the follow-up email as usual. In terms of questions, we had a couple of questions throughout, or even more throughout the presentation, but you were replying them as they've been made, hence why we didn't stop at any moment. What I suggest we do is we still have around about 10-15 minutes. I would suggest we allow anyone who wants to make a live question. Bobby,
can I start with a question?
Yeah, of course you can. Bobby, let me just, in terms of process, maybe use the raise hand button and then myself and Bobby can go to you. So Bobby, go on.
Thanks, Ricardo, and thanks, Paulo, for that. It was really interesting and some fantastic examples in the videos. It struck me how adaptable the players are, and I wondered if you could give us an insight into what your typical training sessions look like. And I appreciate on a training camp over a period of days it might change from emphasis, but how much time are you dedicating to these decision-making type of exercises? You know, if it was 50% of the session, 60% of the session, what does it look like for you on a typical day?
Okay, thank you for the question. Normally I don't mix attack or defense. I don't mix in the same training attack and defense. Normally I don't do this, because if you do this, sometimes we don't have time, especially if you are in a European Championship. You have 1 hour training between 2 games. Okay, maybe you take to the training some problem to solve in the next day, or also some mistake that you made in the last game. So you don't have too much time. But when we have time, normally I don't mix. If the session is to work defense, the players must know and focus in this issue. If the training is to work attack something from attack, we only focus in attack. Of course, you train attack and defense always, but the focus is all time what really we want, the main point to this session. So normally 50-50, and then that depends also of your needs. You have your plan, but you can change the plan because you identify that you have more needs to work more defense in some aspect, so you change the plan, and in 1 week if you have 9 trainings, maybe one of them is more what you need more, 5 trainings attack, 4 trainings defense, or in the contrary. So I think especially you must, when you train something really, and this is advice for all coaches, when we train, we must really, and for this we must really work hard, and we never know everything. We must work all days to really understand what's this, because that's really complex. But especially we must work to take complexity to the things and to explain normally things to the players. I think in this way everybody can understand the things. So it's a little bit this.
Okay, thank you. Ricardo, anything from the chat?
There's there's a question in the chat asking how do you promote and train the communication between players when they are in the system. If there's any specific drills, or you just promote it by, well, asking them to speak essentially?
Really is very good question, because sometimes we lose too much time in some kind of exercises that don't follow, or don't go straight to the point, or don't follow our objective. Sometimes we lose too much time because we saw some exercise with some trainer, this is very good exercise, or I don't know, for the eyes, but you don't know exactly for the aim or the objective for this exercise. But really, I want to ask, and I do this a lot, I ask the players. Of course, we must do this in all ages. For young players, you must ask him, especially to work in how we say this pedagogic objective. That means conscientious mind.
Yeah.
When you work in training, you must all time to be conscious what you do. And when you ask the player, this is really a great moment to work this principle, because the player sometimes stays a little bit confused. But if he knows that you go to ask him something, but you don't stop the training all time to ask him. No, you don't stop the training, but you go there. Hey, what you must do here? Okay, when you feel that you understand the meaning, the intention of the exercise, you can continue, no problem. And the mistake is allowed. The mistake is allowed. You only learn if you do these mistakes. And you only grow up if you make a collection of mistakes, and then step by step you go to do better things. But normally I ask him a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Paulo. Yes,
Ricardo, we had Eugene who's got a question. Eugene, do you want to ask a question now?
Yeah, my question is like, how can you use the cooperation work when you are one man down? Because the pivot decide to help the winger, then the center will be weak. So how can you use the cooperation work?
The cooperation, the outside defender.
When you are one less player.
I one less player in defense, 5 against 6. 5 against 6.
Yes, exactly.
In our situation, we have recently we have 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. That means because there's a lot of there's different ways to attack 5-0 defense. There's a lot of different combinations, but there's some of combination. For example, to play 2 pivots after the Hugo or central back cross with pivot or something, to play against 2 pivots. And we have the center defender decide what we go to do. Sometimes we go to 1, 2, and 3. That means I only go to tell you the 3. The 3 situation is we don't go deep, we stay down. And we wait, and then we react. But we wait for decisions of the attack. the situation 1 and 2, we have different things to different tasks. Okay, more deep in one zone, less deep in the other zone. But what you must think is, when you are with one player less, you must think that you must create some some variations in, especially in deepness, and also in the pair and unpair players that you can defend. You can think in this and put in practice. Try to make some variations. Now you stay a little bit more with back player, and now you stay a little bit more with pivot. And in the other side of the ball, we play 2 against 1, or in this case, 1 against 2. Or we try to make fault, for example, in the man of the ball, and the others come close to cut a possible pass. You have a lot of variations that you can think, but the great thing of this is everybody can construct these variations. If you pay attention, one time I asked Juan Carlos Pastor, now he's in Pixagat. I visit him in Valladolid, and he work defense 5-1, and I asked him, because at the final of training, he comes to talk a little bit with me about this training. And I asked him, I don't know exactly what the question, but I asked him something related with the forward defender. And he answered me, you take a better look. You don't answer me, but take a better look. And if you go to see a little bit better, and observe the game and the big teams, you go to see these variations. Okay?
Perfect. Bobby, I don't know if there's time for more, or if we should call it a day, because we're conscious.
Yeah, it's up to Paulo.
Paulo, we are aware you have to go. Most of the people are appreciative of what you've done. I don't know if you have any more time, or if we should close it maybe. What do you think?
If you have some question more, no problem. Huh?
Okay, we have one more that just popped up on the chat. Let me try and so in which positions do you place your fastest players in your 6-0 defense? Is it the 2-1-4 or number ones? The question from Muhammad.
Wait, I don't understand, Ricardo.
So in which positions do you use the fastest players when you're building up your system? Because obviously you're using a very proactive system where players go out and in. So do you choose the fastest players to be on the number 2 positions, or not?
It's a very good question, because in the past, normally some 6-0 defense put the biggest players in the middle. Later, especially the Balkanic school, put the biggest players as second. So to have active defense like we want to have, you must have fast players in all positions, and especially in some position you don't have this player. If this player don't have too much speed to some movements, you must prepare better the possible helps that you must have to deal with this player. That means when you construct a system, and in this case our system, but really if I have really fast players in all positions. But as you saw in the video, a lot of times we play with our mid defenders. They come out to cut pass. That means these players must be really fast. But also in the center of defense, you can saw that the players go a lot, like Alexis, especially Alexis. Daimar don't go too much, but Alexis, especially Alexis, he is allowed to do it, and that's it. But really, you must, when you construct your system, because sometimes we make the mistake to play, for example, 7 against 6, like Portugal plays in attack. I think is really difficult if you don't have this profile of players. In defense is the same. If you can look to defense, and this defense can have a very good system, but with these players, maybe with your players, you must think a little bit more the best way and make agreements with the players, because the most important thing is that the players can understand what they must do and what kind of level of permission that they have to make his own decisions. That means if you are high quality players, you can do these things. If your players have not too much experience or you don't have this high quality, maybe you must choose another type of system.
Okay, that's perfect. As far as I can see, there's no more questions. Just before we close, Paulo, I would like to tell you that the feedback has been overwhelming in our chat box. Everyone is very happy and everyone is pleased with the opportunity you gave them of learning a bit and exploring a bit the 6-0 system. So on behalf of England Handball and on my personal behalf, I would like to thank you very much for being here and for helping us with this. And yeah, and we'll be keen to see where this develops, and we'll be keen to see the great results that Portugal is going to have in the future, and hopefully learn from them a bit and try to impact our own countries as well. So thank you very much.
I hope too. We will work for this. We know it's difficult, but we will try to keep a good level in international handball. There's a lot of people that help to this. It's not only what we do in the national team. There's a lot of things, but we will try. We will try till the end. Thank you very much for your invitation, and keep safe, everybody. Be careful with this corona.
Thanks, Paulo, and thank you everybody for your engagement today. Like the feedback is saying, it's been probably one of the best sessions we've had, so thanks again for that. Guys, the recording will be sent out in due course. Give us a few hours or maybe tomorrow for that to come to you. We will be in touch with details of our next session, but it's Wednesday, 20th of May with Mark Hawkins, who will be presenting on the video analysis and statistical details of performance. So really kind of an interesting area of handball right now and across all sports. So we hope you can join us for that. Stay safe, everybody. Good luck and all the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Mario.